Oh my god, guys, we just made our first sale! So we have made a grand total of, drumroll please. I have just 1 week to create and launch a new handmade product that will catch the holiday shopping crowd and sell it before the Christmas shipping deadline. Okay, it's December 3rd right now, and I need to get this product out into the world by the 10th because the shipping cutoff is the 18th, so that will give me 8 days to sell this new item. That's really no time at all. Before we get started, full disclosure, I am not a traditionally trained artist. I learned what I know through a lot of practice, so if I say cringy technical things, don't come at me in the comments. Also, I'm sorry about my poorly manicured fingers. I am on a time crunch. Okay, very first thing we need to do is research to see what people want to buy or what's in demand. That is the best way to guarantee that your product will sell, so never ever skip this step. Fortunately, because I already have an audience and community from having run my store for many years, people have been giving me a lot of product suggestions. And the one thing that keeps coming up is a pickle necklace. So it's one thing if one person makes a suggestion for some really obscure thing, but it's another thing if multiple people are repeatedly asking for the same item. You really want to pay attention at that point. And that is what we can see happening here with pickles. Personally, I'm not a huge pickle lover myself, so I didn't get it at first. And it's not something that I would have personally chosen to make out of my own passion, but I want to see if I can do it and make something that's a little bit different from all of the sweet baked treats I usually make. So the research part here is easy and done for me. If you don't have a community like I do, say you're just starting out, you can still do this kind of research yourself. It just won't be spoon-fed to you like it was for me. And the course I teach, A Sale a Day Business System, has an entire module and an amazing checklist for how you can do this research yourself. And there's a link in the description to a free workshop that talks more about my business philosophy and more about the course if you're curious about all of that. For now, we're going to move forward with making a pickle. This will be interesting. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. It could be absolutely terrible. Who knows? So we're going to start mixing colors for making the base clay of pickle. And I usually like to mix clay in very small batches at first because from my experience, because clay changes colors after it's been baked and it's very difficult to gauge what you see and what the color is going to turn out to be. So most likely I will require several tests and iterations of the colors. If I'm lucky, I'll get it right in the first or second try, but we'll see. So I'm going to try this recipe of some yellow and green. I mean, the good news is that I've been doing this for like, I don't know, almost 2 decades now. So I have a pretty good sense of what the colors make what kinds of food items, but it is always still very tricky. And especially when you're making miniature food and you usually use translucent clay for that to give it depth. And that really messes with the baked color. So that always trips me up. But kind of like that green, let's just play around with that. And then we'll see what more colors it needs or what less colors it needs and then go from there. I like that this is looking pretty cucumbery, but it's probably going to look a lot less saturated and a little bit more dull because we've added some translucent in. So I'm going to go ahead and bake it and we'll see. All right, so this was the baked clay. And as you can see, it actually changed color a little bit and I actually really like it. It looks really cucumbery and I think it's a base. I mean, that's what pickles start out as, right? And I think if we added some more pickly green paint on top, that can really pickleify this cucumber. So I think I got lucky. I really like this green. It's so fresh. So I think we'll just go for it. I mean, we're running against the clock here, so let's just go with that. So I'm going to make a larger batch so I can make a few dozens of these and get ready for my sale.
Many hours later.
Okay, I think we're at a dead end here. So I have been mixing different colors of paint to paint over the baked cucumber and it's just not working out. So this was the very first cucumber or pickle that I made and it required so many different layers to get it looking like this and it's still not totally right because the green is just way too green. And then mixing it with a little bit of amber paint just made it too pickly. It's not looking very fresh. I mean, I think there's a balance. I know pickles aren't technically fresh, but you still want it to look cute, right? Because it's going to be worn as jewelry, and I was making things too hard for myself. I think in an ideal world, we need to have a base clay color that's closer to a pickle color and less like just fresh cucumber like this. So less green and maybe a little bit more yellow or ochre. And then ideally we have a paint that doesn't require too much mixing because it's so challenging to measure accurately any amount of paint, right? That's going to be challenging for quality control and for making consistent charms, especially since I have a small team of production assistants that I'll have to train for how to make this eventually. So I'm going to have to go shopping online and do some research to see if I can just find a pickle color green, and then I need to change the color for this clay. So this is going to set me back a little bit. And unfortunately, I made such a big batch of this first green color. It's sunk cost fallacy, which is it feels painful to have to take a few steps back from the progress that I've made so far, right? It would be easier to just keep going in this path that I've been set on, but long-term thinking, the right thing to do for a better foundation for more profitability, easier scalability with creating these pickles is to just do it right the first time. So let's just take a little bit more time here to get this really right. It took me all afternoon to research paint swatches, and when I finally found one that I liked, I had to make sure that I could get it shipped really quickly so that I could meet my deadline. So let's hope it's the right color. Times like these, I am really envious of people who are really prolific with their product creation, or if you're an artist, it can often just take hours to make a new product with print on demand, right? But if you sell handmade items, you will relate when I say that these things take time. You need to order supplies. The design phase can take a lot of trial and error. We're just much more beholden to physical logistics like shipping and paint drying. The good news is that I could maybe make something that is unique and that will help the product stand out, which in theory will help me make more sales. But we shall see about that.
The next day.
Okay, color update. This was the original first color that I made, and this is what it looks like baked. And this is the new clay color, which I'm really happy with. So definitely a little bit more pickle looking. And here's what it looks like with the new paint that we got. So I'm actually super, super happy with that color combo. And I think it is the right shade of pickle for me. So that's super exciting. Honestly, mixing colors is for me one of the hardest parts with designing a new product. So it is not a surprise that I had to spend a little bit extra time here just shopping for materials and making several iterations of color recipes, but I am happy with that. So we will move on to the next stage. Normally, when I make new designs, I would then make like 2 to 3 pieces, maybe 5 of the design, just so I can get some practice in, and so I can make the pieces needed to photograph them and then use those photos for creating the product listing online. Because when you think about it, that's really all you need. You don't need to have like a stock of 20 of these products sitting on your shelves to sell something online. All you really need is a photo with product listings that you put online, and that's what people see as a representation of what they're buying. However, because Christmas is coming up really soon and our deadline is fast approaching for when I need to launch this, I am going to pre-make about 50 of these little pickles so that they are ready to ship ASAP. And that is what I'm going to be focused on in the next few hours, is just making an army of little pickles. Here's an important detail that I wanted to talk about with my pickle design. So color and size aside, what I want you to pay attention to is the texture of these 2 pickles. So this was version 1, where I put little bumps on it, where I rolled up little tiny pieces of clay and I stuck it onto the pickle. This is more accurate and realistic to what a pickle actually is. However, for one of my tests, I decided to just, in a hurry, poke holes in the pickle instead. And this is the effect of that. And when I showed these to my husband, he actually surprisingly preferred the effect of the holy pickles. And I think that boils down to that even though this pickle looks technically more accurate, this looks better with holes. I guess that's just a point to be made that not everything needs to be super realistic, but it has to look convincing at a smaller scale as well. And the reason this distinction is important is because long-term making a pickle with holes is going to be so much easier and save me a lot more time than making a pickle with actual bumps on them. Because this took me forever. I had to roll every little tiny ball you see on here and press it into the clay.
The next day.
Good morning. It is December 8th, Sunday, and it's my birthday. Yay! And I'm going to be spending the day painting 50 pickle charms, and we'll see how far we can get with that today and with the rest of this project. So wish me luck. Okay, so I've had a little bit of practice painting the pickles, and I'm about more than halfway through now, and I'm able to get a pretty consistent look with them. And I have learned along the way for how I like to paint them to just get that pickle look. And because I'm an overachiever and I like to leverage my time and be efficient with it as much as I can, I thought it would be a great idea to record myself making the pickles so that I can create the training videos for my production assistant team. So it took me like 5 minutes to set up. I have my top-down camera that is usually used for teaching in like big lecture halls, and I have that connected to my laptop over here so you can see my hands on my laptop over there. I've got my Blue Yeti mic set up for audio, I've got my lighting and all that, so let's get recording. Also, just FYI, if this kind of stuff about like hiring help and scaling your production and expanding your team so you can sell more of your handmade physical products, if that all sounds interesting to you and you want to learn more of how I've been doing it for close to 2 decades now, and it's the sort of stuff that I love talking about and coaching on, I might have some openings on more private one-on-one coaching that we don't do very often. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a DM on Instagram at Creative Hive Co. Okay, so I got a lot done today, and right now we're gonna head out to birthday dinner, and when we come back, I'm going to start working on editing those photos we just shot and then hand them off to Jenny so she can start preparing the email blast that's going to go out for selling this necklace, and then we can call it a day, and then tomorrow I can work on the product listing and all that stuff. Really productive weekend. First step is always to crop the product. I like to do it so the product takes up more space on the screen. That makes it easier for customers to see all the little details so they can see what the product is. Then I'm whitening the background. I have a whole other video on my channel teaching how you can do this yourself, but I'm just gonna speed through it here. But after I whiten the background, I've lost some detail in the necklace chain, so I need to bring that back. So we're just painting it in. And we're done with that photo, so let's save it. Let's edit the next one. Now, editing colored backgrounds is a lot easier to do. I'm just brightening up the photo and that's basically it. I like to edit in Photoshop because I'm more comfortable with it, but I know a lot of people like using Lightroom instead. Honestly, the best software is the one you're most comfortable with. For this one, I'm just lessening the shadows under my hand so they're not as distracting and removing that piece of lint. There we go. Now for this, I'm using generative AI to expand the photo because I want to show some hair in the picture to make it look more natural. And finally, I like having a photo with multiple charms in it so customers can see the variations in the product. And that's it. All right, now we're in Shopify to create a new product listing. Let's type that in and upload product photos. Just rearranging them. All right, nice. For the price, this was a pretty simple and fast necklace to make, and my simpler designs sell at $28, so I think I'm going to go with that. I would normally recommend using my pricing calculator for this, but I have a good sense for how much time it takes to make my products at this point. So yeah, I think that feels fair. So yeah, just doing a gut check. Let's do $28. Okay, so now we need a product description. I am terrible at doing that, so I'm going to use Claude AI for this. I have found this to be the best free AI tool for writing product descriptions. I have a scented pickle necklace made from polymer clay, handmade, that I need a product description written for. Please write me one that is compelling, fun, and cute. Oh, hold on, I forgot to write something about the scent. Let me write that here. Sorry, I forgot to mention that while I could have scented it to smell like dill pickle, I don't think most people want to be walking around smelling like that. Instead, I'm giving it a cucumber scent. It's fresh and lightly sweet. I think this is really good. It flows well, it's creative and interesting to read. It makes me want to keep reading, which is so important. There are some things I would probably edit with this, but it's already like 90% there. And let's just edit it so it's more accurate. Cucumber is 1 inch tall, smells like fresh and... that doesn't make any sense. Fresh and sweet cucumber. Okay, so I'm giving it a second, more thorough read here. I want to add something to more highlight the very deliberate choice to not give it a dill pickle scent, because that's what people are expecting. I'm trying to make it sound cute and have some humor. I'm going to get rid of this bullet list here. A pickle is already so specific. If you're already on this page, you know exactly who you're getting it for. That's about it. So let's save it as a draft first, so it's not live on the site yet, and let's preview it. Looks great! Okay, so all I need to do now is make it an active product when we're ready to launch, which will take like 10 seconds to do. I keep going back and forth on the pricing with this, and I think I've decided to actually charge a little bit more for it. And I think the reasons for doing that is I need to take my own advice. I keep telling other people this, that artists, we tend to undervalue and underprice our work. And I think a lot of that was happening when I was figuring out the price. I did some research on other pickle necklaces online, and there's just not a lot of options out there. The ones that are already there are cute, but I feel like mine is so different and unique from what is available, and I'm really proud of it. I think it looks really cute, so that's another reason. It's also highly requested, it's high in demand, and it's just a basic economic supply and demand curve, right? If there's high demand, there's low supply, you raise the prices. And also I offer discounts all the time. So if someone uses like a 20% off discount, it's gonna end up being about 20 some bucks anyway. So I think $35 is the right price for this. Okay, so Jenny, my marketing assistant, has gotten the teaser emails set up in our Klaviyo account. This is going out on December 10th. So this email is going out to a much smaller segment of our list. It's only about 200 people. This is a segment of folks that voted on our pickle design email that we emailed a while back, asking if people wanted a full pickle design or a slice pickle. And then tomorrow we'll send out a larger launch email to most of our list. And this is what that email looks like. It is really cute. I love the branding for all of this. So this email is designed in Canva. All of this is just pictures that we just cut up and upload as images into Klaviyo. And the hope is that we just want to, reward people that are engaging with our email list and who are invested in the journey of us creating new designs. But yeah, crossing fingers that we will get some sales, and I will report back.
The next day.
Oh my God, guys, we just made our first sale! Thank you so much, Mary, for being our first customer for the pickle necklace. This happened like 21 minutes after our email blast went out for the teaser email. And so it has been several hours since that email went out, and we have sold a total of 5 pickles. And what I find I'm so grateful for is that all of these customers have bought from me many times in the past before. So they're repeat customers. Mary has placed 18 orders with me in the past, so I am so grateful. But it's a really exciting start. I mean, honestly, guys, this is the hardest part, is just making that first sale for something totally new, because there's always that fear that no one's going to like what you just made, right? And I definitely had that fear. So the worst part is over, and it's smooth sailing from here on out. Jenny just got back to me with the email blast that's going out tomorrow to more people on our list. Hopefully it's gonna be a few thousand people that's gonna see this, and we'll sell a lot more. But let's have a look at this and ask Jenny to make any changes if necessary. But she's usually pretty good about these emails, and she's using the template from before too. It's just so cute. It makes me, it makes me laugh. I love it. Okay, and this is great to have as well. Amazing. So yeah, it looks good. Crossing fingers that we sell a lot of these tomorrow. Hey everyone, Merry Christmas! It's been exactly 2 weeks now since launching the pickle necklace, and I promised you I'd share sales results. So we have made a grand total of, drumroll please, $806. I sold 23 pickles. I was, of course, hoping I would sell a lot more, considering I have an audience and so many people were asking for a pickle, but I think these are realistic results. This wasn't like a multiple 5-figure launch like you see a lot of people apparently doing online. And that puts a lot of pressure on the launch and makes us have unrealistic expectations that we can make a ton of sales on the launch day. But what I've seen and what I tell my students all the time is the work doesn't stop after you launch. It keeps going. You keep doing marketing and putting the word out there about your product. And that's where the sales really come in and what I plan to do. Having said that, I know I could have done a lot more. I could have done a lot more marketing leading up to the product release to build anticipation. I know that helps a ton. I could have offered some sort of promo, like a discount, or like, you know, the first 15 people get a free gift or something like that. If I wanted to go all out, I could have pitched to some influencers to help spread the word for me in the moment that I launched, and maybe posted some paid ads. But even as I'm saying this, that's a lot of work, and I just did not have time for that. Plus, like I said, that just puts a lot of pressure on the launch when that's just going to be a drop in the bucket compared to the sales that will follow over time. Some of my product have made me tens of thousands of dollars. On the flip side, to some of you just starting out, $806 worth of sales can be a lot. And if you're feeling all kinds of ways about like, I could never do something like that, I just want you to keep in mind that I do have an existing audience and my product research was practically done for me. So the risk in making this product was quite low. I've definitely launched new products that did not sell at all, and that is normal too. Not everything you put out there is going to be a slam dunk. And of course, people rarely talk about that, so we think it doesn't happen, but it definitely does. It can take a long time to build up your customer base, and the research process is not easy, especially if you don't know how to do it and what things to look out for. And that's exactly the kind of stuff I teach in my A Sale a Day course. Moving forward, I am excited that pickles are picking up in trend and people are searching for it more, like for more pickle related things, according to the Pinterest Predicts 2025, which is a trend report. What this means for me is, since I do a lot of media outreach and influencer marketing and ads as what I believe to be the fastest and most efficient way to get traffic and sales, I can use the pickle necklace to pitch to magazines, blogs, and news sites because it's new and relevant content for them. I can make social media content specifically around pickles, and the hope is it'll get some traction and maybe go a little viral because it's on trend and such a weird, unique product. I'm basically giving people a reason to talk about me and my shop. As far as costs go, the cool thing about polymer clay products is the costs are generally pretty low. I used less than $10 of clay. I spent $10 on the pickle paint. $110 for my Klaviyo account for sending those launch emails, $20 for Jenny's time in helping me design those emails, eye pins and gloss. In total, it cost me less than $150 to make a batch of almost 50 charms. But that's not counting the hours of my time that went into designing the pickle, taking the photos, and everything you watch me do today, of which there is definitely a cost to all of our time, right? I see a lot of artists make that mistake in thinking their time is free, but it's not. The time I spent designing this necklace was an investment in creating this asset in my business that will continue to make me sales for years to come.